Amigos, nos encontramos hoy en lo que es el Museo Postal de la Ciudad de Londres y aquí les hago la presentación del primer edificio. Después de pagar una entrada al otro edificio al que vamos a dirigirnos ahorita, ahí se compra y se viene acá. Aquí es donde uno entra y va a disfrutar de lo que es el tren, el tren postal. Es un trencito que lo lleva uno a dar un paseo, pero de esa forma era como se movía toda la correspondencia en aquellos años. Así de que les hago esta reseña para que los que vean el video y quieran venir, luego pues ya sepan qué hacer, porque no es lo mismo venir sabido de alguna información a venir totalmente a ciegas. Uno viene acá y pasa uno viene al edificio al que vamos a dirigirnos en este momento, compra la entrada, compra el ticket y se regresa al edificio que les acabo de presentar. Ahí inicia el recorrido de lo que es la visita al museo de la oficina postal de la Ciudad de Londres. Aquí les voy a empezar a hacer la toma del otro edificio al que uno viene primero y luego viene de segundo, porque primero a comprar la entrada y segundo ya a lo que corresponde conocer otras cosas acerca de lo que es la historia de la oficina postal de la ciudad de aquí de Londres, en Inglaterra. Aquí está el edificio, aquí lo pueden ver ustedes, que dice Welcome to Postal Museum, o sea, bienvenidos al museo de la oficina postal. En este momento nos estamos acercando, vamos a ingresar y seguiremos con la toma cuando estemos en la parte de adentro. Así es que, amigos, seguimos grabando. En este momento estamos viendo la llegada del pequeño tren que por lo visto nos va a llevar a hacer un pequeño recorrido dentro de lo que es el subterráneo de este museo. Pequeño trencito, prácticamente es un trencito de juguete, pero muy bonito. Ustedes pueden apreciar el descenso de las personas y es el mismo tren donde nosotros nos vamos a ir ahora. Se puede ver una proyección de lo que son las instalaciones en la parte subterránea, las cuales vamos a estar presenciando en minutos. Por lo que se ve, era un tren que era utilizado para llevar todas las cartas, toda la correspondencia. Pues se ve que ahí hay personas cargando las bolsas grandes. Pues era conducido todo lo que es era el correo postal en aquel entonces, de esta forma. Y podemos apreciar ya nuevamente el trencito se va. Nosotros tenemos que esperar unos minutos para que nos toque ese pequeño trozo. que vamos, yo les puedo decir que es un bonito lugar. Hay que disfrutarlo, es parte de la historia de esta ciudad y cómo fueron los inicios de lo que es el correo postal aquí en la ciudad de Londres. O todo el Reino Unido, por supuesto. Estaré proporcionándoles las imágenes que se pueden ver aquí del lugar donde estamos, momentos antes de salir. Pero sí les digo que siento que va a ser una bonita experiencia. Es un pequeño paseo. Y bueno, yo creo que juntamente con ustedes lo vamos a disfrutar. Este es el Museo Postal de la ciudad de Londres. Han cerrado las puertas y en este momento nos preparamos a partir, a lo que es el pequeño paseo y el reconocimiento de las instalaciones de aquí del Museo Postal de la ciudad de Londres.
Went for pizza when he came to visit me in Plymouth, and there was tiramisu as dessert. And he was like, "Where do you kind of fancy dessert?" And I said, "Have you ever had?" I asked him if he'd ever had it, and he said no. And I said, I would be so shocked if you didn't like it. I was like, it's, you know, it's all of your favourite things basically in one dessert. He was like, "Where are you going at that?"
Iniciamos y nos empezamos a mover.
Hi, I'm Aisha, one of the Mail Rail drivers and your guide today. We ask all passengers to remain seated for the duration of the ride and not to lean on the sides of the train. This may cause it to stop suddenly. Thank you. Welcome to Marrow. We're just leaving the depot where the trains were making. We're in a small train entering a narrow tunnel beneath the busy streets of London, on a mini railway that once carried Britain's mail for sorting, distribution and delivery. If this were a working mail rail train, we wouldn't be going slowly. We'd be rattling along at 30 miles an hour. And I wouldn't be here either, because the trains had no drivers. They were controlled by an electrical switching system. This was the world's first driverless electric railway, and the only one dedicated to carrying post. On this journey, you'll hear from people who remember Mail Rail. Here's Beverly Turner.
My grandfather, Cornelius Lee, was an inspector on the Mail Rail. I have a story about when I was 7 and was allowed to go on the Mail Rail against all the rules. I must have said to him I wanted to go, but when the doors opened, there was this little tiny train on the track, so small, and I was going for a ride on it, which was so exciting. Until they sat me on it and realised I had to...
That used to be a sandpit, designed to catch and safely stop trains that were running the wrong way. We're arriving at platform 1, on the right of the train. These platforms are scenes of frantic activity in the days when the railway was doing its job. And on the platform you may notice a dartboard. Holloway, platform worker, explains.
They would set a dartboard up and they'd have a few games in their downtime, you know, and the golfers used to get a golf club out and practice with practice balls with the holes in on the platform. Yeah, why not?
It sounds like a lot of fun and games, but there was a serious need for Marrow when it was constructed. In those days it was called the Post Office Railway. Post Office Railway was designed to solve an old problem. As early as the mid-1800s, people realised that mail moving through the streets of London could easily get trapped in traffic. In 1911, it was decided to build an underground railway, running 6.5 miles through new tunnels, 70 feet below the streets. 8 stops would link to sorting offices and railway stations, from which mail crossed the country on regular trains. Digging of the tunnels began in 1913. It was done almost entirely by hand. During the First World War, the unfinished tunnels were used to safely store treasures from London's galleries and museums, including the world-famous Rosetta Stone. The railway wasn't ready for use until 1927. But once it was in service, the Post Office Railway became something very special indeed.
Some of the guys would have a sleep down there. I don't know how. It was very, very noisy.
Ray Middlesworth, engineer.
You had the trains coming in as you're in the tunnel. The sound echoes round and you get the screeching of the wheels.
Hung Lee, administrator.
Not many people knew that Royal Mail had a underground railway.
It is just fascinating that it ran for so many years and nobody knew of its existence. Lovely little gem of hidden London.
A lot of things stayed pretty much the same over the lifetime of the railway. And one of them was what happened every time a train arrived at one of the stations, carrying containers of mail. Some needed taken off to go to a sorting office, and others needed to be loaded on.
They'd come in and it just went mad. Everyone would be pulling off and empty that, took that, get some, put something on.
All the mailbags would be emptied onto this bucket by a conveyor belt. This thing would rise to the surface and empty them all out onto the platform.
From 1927 to 2003, the railway ran 22 hours out of 24, 6 days a week, 51 weeks a year, teams of workers, 3 shifts every day.
Most of the people I knew, they said mail rail was the best job they ever had. It was very family orientated. Everyone seemed to get along.
Amanda Stokes, inspector.
The railway was just special. There were so many people that I just bonded with, doing something really unique, but also doing it in great company. What more do you want?
Still friends with people I've worked with on the railway because they didn't become just work colleagues after several decades. They're your best friends.
Oh, it looks like I've got a letter to deliver.
Y de esa forma hemos escuchado parte de la historia de todo lo que fue el correo aquí en la ciudad de Londres, su inicio y su evolución.
For staff in the 70s and 80s, life on the railway was like travelling back in time.
I joined in January 1979. When I first went down there, I was amazed. The lighting was really dim and it was very old. Everything was old. The furniture was old. The dust was everywhere. The conveyor belts needed a coat of paint. It was probably as it was in the 30s, 40s. Haven't changed since then.
The year I joined, 1987 onto the railway, it was the 60th anniversary and many generations had been through it. There were people there who were trained by people who were trained by people who were there at the very beginning. A lot of railway stuff had to be fixed in-house or made in-house, and you're seeing things that come from the early 30s still there and operational.
Let's pause here for a moment where the tracks head off in different directions. The tunnel to the left leads to Liverpool Street Station, where mail was transferred to the main railway network. And further down that tunnel, there's a pair of heavy steel doors. They are flood barriers. During the railway's construction, 10 men had to scramble to safety when water flooded into where they were working. The barriers were put in during the war, but luckily haven't been needed since. When we move off into the loop tunnel, keep a lookout on either side of the train, and you'll get a glimpse of what we call the train graveyard. Over to our engineer, Ray Middlesworth.
When trains did have a collision, sometimes the damage was quite severe, so they'd be stored there, and on a temporary basis, but temporary became very long term became permanent, so it did eventually become a graveyard for these trains. I believe the old Hoover is down there. It's important to keep the track clean, and they thought, well, why not build a Hoover, stick it on a set of wheels, and we'll take it down there. One of the problems is in the tunnel, that side of it, is that once you start the air moving, it keeps moving. So all that happens is you disappear in a cloud of dust.
Now that the lights are back on, take a look at the tunnel walls. You can see the great iron rings that were bolted together, one by one, to protect the workers as they dug out the clay. You might also notice things that look like icicles hanging from the ceilings. These are made of a mineral called calcite. People trusted the post office to deliver almost anything, which meant the railway carried some surprising parcels.
I used to like bees. They used to post bees. I think they were in tubes that were broken up into little cells. And you pick a bag up and you go psss, and you go, oh, it's bees, they've got bees in it. Put them very gently into the container. I used to like that.
Since coming to Australia, still being in touch with so many of them. So yeah, it was just really special.
People who kept London's mail moving. Thanks to those who built it, ran it, and saved it, this hidden railway isn't forgotten after all. Here we are arriving back at the depot. We hope you've enjoyed your tour around the little world of Mailrail. Don't forget to explore the exhibition as well. There's lots more to see. Goodbye.
Y este es el final del paseo. Aquí en la parte de abajo del subterráneo de cómo se repartía la correspondencia hace cuántos años. Por este lado, por este segmento, hemos llegado al final, pero continuamos grabando.
Trainloads of mail arrived at every station every few minutes, with about a minute to unload and reload. Let's follow a few of those links. This is the Colonel. He's writing to the famous poet W.H. Auden at the GPO film. This is Kathleen. She's keeping in touch with her sweetheart in the Navy. And this is Mary. Her letter is very special. It's going to her. Those 3 letters all got delivered quickly and safely, and so did the other 4 million which travelled along main rail every day. We're now leaving platform 2 and heading back up to the depot. One of the most surprising things about the railway is how bonded the workforce was.
I would say a good third of the people down on the railway had connections with other guys. Lots of fathers and sons and brothers and uncles and all that kind of stuff. And that made the bond between the guys a lot stronger. I suppose it made the culture of the railway that much stronger.